Hey everybody, Lindsay Smith here with your business tip this week. This week, I want to talk about a situation where you need to renegotiate your commissions with the seller of a property. So you're representing the buyer, you're taking them in, this might be the 28th property you've shown them, and the seller is only offering $500 of commissions payable to you in total. So the way that you can do this is a couple things. Number one, I hope you had a buyer brokerage agreement signed so that your buyer understands and you've already explained what happens in this circumstance. If you haven't, you still have the opportunity to renegotiate, but you have to explain to your client that you're going to go in and be negotiating your commissions on behalf, and you need their permission to do so. So let's talk about a case where this person is unrepresented. It might be a for sale by owner or in a position where it's a mere posting and no representation is being offered. In that case, you're going to use a form called a Customer Disclosure Plus Fee Agreement, and you can find that on our virtual office or on web forms. So what you're going to do is have a customer status agreement with that client, so you're not going to represent them at all, and you're going to have a fee agreement in there, and you can explain to the seller that you would negotiate normally and that your side of the commissions would be payable from the proceeds of the sale. In a circumstance where this person is represented, they're not really a customer because they are represented by a brokerage. So what you want to do in this case is build it directly into the purchase contract. Now wait, one of the misconceptions on this is that you cannot do that. The reality is that's a half-truth. You cannot say that the seller's brokerage will pay you a bigger commission because this agreement is between the purchaser and the seller and has nothing to do with either of your brokerages. So you can't write anything in there about the seller's brokerage paying you an additional fee. However, the seller and the buyer who are giving their funds to complete a deal have the right to redirect their funds however you want. So what you're going to do is you're not going to reference the listing brokerage at all. You're not going to reference the listing realtor. All you're going to do is ask the seller and the buyer to redirect the funds. So this is what the clause would sound like. And I'm going to read this so I don't mess it up. But it would say, under the additional terms of a contract, buyer and seller agree that a total of X amount will be paid from the proceeds of the sale to CIR Realty on behalf of Lindsay Smith for services rendered to the buyer. So again, the buyer and the seller can choose to do whatever they want with the funds of the sale, and you're saying that a certain amount over and above what's offered on that listing agreement or what's offered by the client would be paid to you. So that's it. That's what you can do to make sure that you get paid an additional amount to fulfill the obligations of a buyer brokerage agreement. It must be paid from the proceeds of the sale. You can't just tack it on to the price after the purchase contract's been written up. You can't do that. You need to make sure that you build it into the proceeds of the sale as part of the transaction. That's your business tip this week. All the best in doing a ton of business for the rest of the year.